about 700 or so leftist marches over the weekend organized to protest President Trump's zero-tolerance approach to border jumpers.
We have children being housed in cages, crying for their mommies and daddies. We know we are better than this.
Do we want to be an America that values children and families?
I always say the power of the people shall and will be a lot stronger than the people in power. Did you hear that, Donald Trump? Where's the love, Donald Trump?
I don't even know who that is, who that last person is. What is that? Well, they were fulminating about family separations, of course, at the border, despite the fact that President Trump ended that policy 2 weekends ago. Did they not read? Well, of course, what all of you smart people already know, because you watch the Ingraham Angle, the left isn't really worried about the kids. Is that cynical? Well, maybe it is. But if they were really worried about kids, they would be at regular rallies in Chicago and Baltimore, where still an unacceptably high number of children are left fatherless or even die themselves because of gangbangers and fighting turf wars. Now, what's most upsetting to these protesters is that despite all their efforts, Trump's approval numbers keep edging up. So their only recourse is to demonize Trump as a heartless baby jailer. Do you notice they always say kids in cages? It's like kids in cages. You hear that all the time. Well, it's also an opportunity, of course, for Democrats to trot out new radical policy positions. Now, ever since that 28-year-old socialist in New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, beat Democratic incumbent, of course, Joe Crowley, a Democrat from leadership, number 4 in the party's old guard has been reeling. Now they're straining for relevance, and they're tripping all over themselves to align with that millennial socialist. They want to now abolish immigration, customs, and enforcement, because that was a big part of her platform. Look at how well she did. So, again, rather than challenging her flawed thinking, this is the Homeland Security's major enforcement arm. Let's not forget, Democrats have decided to just dash leftward and endorse her idea.
We believe that we should protect families that need our help, and that is not what ICE is doing today, and that's why I believe you should get rid of it, start over, reimagine it, and build something that actually works.
Look at ICE. What a group of incompetents. At this point, they're focused more on toddlers than terrorists. And instead of focusing on stopping bad drugs from coming in and stopping dirty drug money from going out, they're focusing on separating kids from their families.
Hey, Dick, the policy doesn't exist any longer. And anyway, ICE does not separate kids at the border. Like many of the protesters surrounding Durbin, it seems like, they all confuse ICE with Customs and Border Protection. It's Border Patrol that arrests illegals at the border and runs them through processing. ICE is the law enforcement agency that was set up, you remember, after 9/11 to protect us from international security threats, particularly those posed by people in the country illegally. So how ironic is it that 4 New York politicians, Senator Gillibrand, Mayor de Blasio, gubernatorial candidate Cynthia Nixon, and congressional candidate Ocasio-Cortez are now leading the Abolish ICE movement charge? Nifty. Well, the problem for all of them is that the people just aren't buying this. The latest Harvard-Harris poll shows that while 88% believe that families who cross the border illegally should not be separated, 76% want secure borders. Then 53% believe we should prosecute those entering the country illegally, while 64% agree that you should send the border crossers back home. But no matter where they stand on the nuances of immigration policy, a whopping 70% want stricter enforcement of existing immigration laws. So how are you going to do that exactly if you abolish the agency that's charged with investigating human trafficking, drug smuggling, weapon smuggling? ICE is the agency that also tracks down criminal illegal immigrants. And then they remove them from the country. Democrats claim that they're for that. So if criminals make it over the border, are we just to let them maraud across the country? Good luck on turning that into a platform that actually wins votes.
You get rid of ICE, you're going to have a country that you're going to be afraid to walk out of your house. I love that issue if they're going to actually do that. They're seriously talking about that because you are going to have a country that's crime-ridden. The Border Patrol agents, ICE, these people are incredible.
Well, the president understands the political calculus here. And his zero-tolerance policy, remember, it brought border arrests in June down to their lowest level since February, according to the AP. That was the story. But if Democrats think melting down a national law enforcement agency with 20,000 employees that's working to keep Americans safe in communities all across the U.S. is a solution, well, I think they have another thing coming. It not only sounds like an idea that you'd hear at some undergrad student center over some like Ben & Jerry's, it's also dangerous. The Democrats push to abolish ICE, and it's as off-key as the entertainment of some of their big rallies over the weekend.
I'm just going to sing a lullaby that I wrote, and this is for those parents, and we're not going to stop until they can sing them to their kids again.
We treat asylum seekers with compassion. We don't seek to punish them for trying to do what's right for their families.
Oh, Philip, you outshine the morning sun, my son. When you smile, I fall apart.
Side note, wasn't he nominated, but he lost the Tony for Best Musical Performance, Best Actor? He was nominated, though. Come on. Hamilton was fantastic. But it's the writing, the composing. As Trump scores win after win on the economy, international relations, trade, and now with a second Supreme Court pick, dispirited Democrats are looking for hope somewhere. So what did they do this weekend? Other than listening to some off-key performances, they turned to the one. The community organizer-in-chief himself, Barack Obama, appeared with all the little people at a Beverly Hills fundraiser this weekend, making his first appearance in months. He declared the gathering a mope-free zone. And while the word is that he's been devoting himself to fundraising for his library and writing his memoirs, Obama is now on a DNC fundraising swing, commanding more than $100,000 a plate. And without mentioning Trump, he told the swanky crowd, "This is a moment of great urgency, and you're right to be concerned." Then, with a self-referential air, he mused, "We shouldn't expect politics to be entertaining all the time, and Christina Aguilera was wonderful, but you don't need to have an amazing singer at every event. Sometimes you're just in a church basement making phone calls and eating cold pizza." That's easy for him to say. He spent a lot of the last year between like Tahiti and Richard Branson's private island in the Caribbean. Cold pizza, though, for the other people. Well, in many ways, the explosion of protests, the tilt to the left, the ineffective Democratic leadership, all of this is the fulfillment of what Obama first ushered into his party. The Obama era and the party it left behind always prized style over experience and results. And now a new generation of inexperienced, charismatic leftists are moving to the fore of the party. They're giving speeches, they're leading marches, and they're resisting Trump. But original thinking and a governing strategy continues to elude them. With every tack to the left, they merely estrange themselves from the vast middle and working class of this country, catering only to the progressive elites in Manhattan and Malibu. Should this continue come November? Well, voters, even Democratic ones, may be pulling the lever to abolish the Democrats. And that's the angle.